Good day, wrestling fans. It's me, it's the ROB, Rob coming at you. Hashtag the real Bobby Munson, and this is another edition of Rob's Rockin' Wrestling. Yes, here we are, folks. It is Friday, July 14th, 2017, and it is another scorcher out there today. We're going through a bit of heat wave in Canada. Yes, I'm sure some of the people who might be listening outside of Canada that don't know a lot about our climate here might be just kind of laughing, thinking like heat wave. What is it like? Just barely above freezing? No, 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 folks. Here in Canada, we get every extreme, every little bit fun extreme. So yes, we do get the bitter colds in the winter time. It is cold as hell in winter, but you know what? Right now, has been 2 weeks, maybe going on 3 weeks, that we have seen nothing but sunshine and heat, and I'm talking quite warm out there. So yes, it's burning up here in the Great White North, but you know what's not burning up is my desire for WWE this week. Little bit disappointed in most of what I saw this week. Where do I start? I'm not going to recap everything that happened on each individual show this week. I've been a little bit busy, so didn't really take the time to, decide I'm going to talk about that stuff. So what I'm going to do is just kind of go over some of the things that we've found out this week, and just do a little fun, easygoing sort of a day here today. So for all 5 to 10 of you that might be listening, thank you. And if we get more than that, fuck yeah. So anyway, so Raw this week, decent show. Follow up to Great Balls of Fire. I don't feel that it was as good as the pay-per-view itself, which is okay. You always want the pay-per-views to be your strong points and stuff like that. There was a few things that definitely worked. I gotta say, okay, so let's have a look at the whole Brock Lesnar thing. Brock Lesnar coming out to the ring. Kurt Angle there, Paul Heyman's there, and who interrupts him? Roman Reigns. And one thing I'm gonna say is that by the end of what Roman was saying in this match, there was Roman Reigns chants going on in that arena, folks. So the snarky WWE universe, which some of you are very much a part of, and so am I, have decided that now that Roman Reigns is a total badass after the whole ambulance stunt at Great Balls of Fire, that it's okay to like him all of a sudden. I've been saying on this show for a little while now, and if anybody's been following me online, you'll know that I never had anything against Roman Reigns. I've rather enjoyed him. My only beef was I didn't think that he made for a great babyface character, or more so, he didn't do the babyface commentary or promos the way that I feel would be strong for a babyface character. I always thought with Roman Reigns, less talk, more action was what was needed, and that's exactly what we've been getting for quite some time now. When you start to break it down, it's like Roman has been less talk, more action for probably a large portion, if not most of this year so far. So 2017 has been exactly what I wanted from Roman, and his matches have always been pretty solid. You hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, I bet I'll wait for you to name a 5-star Roman Reigns match," and it's like 5-star based on whose rankings. Okay, I got nothing but the world of respect for Dave Meltzer. I mean, he's a very credible journalist. Been in the business a very long time. And I know a lot of people are getting out there and saying, "Oh, well, Dave Meltzer this, Dave Meltzer that." You know what? Dave Meltzer does good at what he does, but obviously Dave Meltzer, just like you and I, is going to have things he's going to like more than others. And Dave Meltzer obviously has a bigger love for New Japan Pro Wrestling than he does for what you see in the WWE. He doesn't hate WWE, but he definitely does not view it on the same level, because it seems like any of the top matches that you get over on New Japan are immediately 5 or 6-star in Meltzer's mind. Fair enough, he's a big fan. As where, WWE, when they really pull out a memorable match, he cuts it just shy of 5 stars in order to make sure they don't get it. The fact that he didn't give Tyler Bate versus Pete Dunne from NXT TakeOver Chicago 5 stars is kind of mind-boggling, actually. But again, it's Dave Meltzer's opinion, folks. He's allowed to say what he wants. But if you're going to now use that as your argument placement, you're going to use that to try to battle wits with other people online. It's a little bit hysterical because now you're not using your opinion, you're using somebody else's. You're trying to hide behind somebody else's views. So just because Dave Meltzer has never given Roman Reigns a 5-star match, to my knowledge, does not mean that Roman Reigns' matches are not 5-star worthy at times. I look back on matches with it, when he took on AJ Styles. I mean, to me, was it a 5-star match? I don't know. I'd have to go back and have another look at it. I don't know if it's 5-star. But then again, AJ Styles can make anybody look like they have a 5-star match. AJ Styles is, for a lack of better words, phenomenal. He could make a match against a mop and bucket look entertaining. And that's just how the guy is. He personifies everything that is pro wrestling today, and that's why he can do that. But Roman Reigns again is not got the years of experience that an AJ Styles does. But you listen to someone like AJ Styles talk about his time in the ring with Roman Reigns, and he has nothing but great things to say about the guy. And they did put on a hell of a show against each other when they took each other out. And on top of that, the feud with Braun Strowman has got to be one of the best damn things going in WWE. And not to say there isn't some great things going on there, but the feud with Braun Strowman has been phenomenal. These guys have torn each other apart. The whole match at Great Balls of Fire, I mean, in every sense of the word, shouldn't have been as good as it was. It's an ambulance match. I can't remember a time. I mean, ambulance matches, they can be okay and stuff like that, but this is the first time I think I've sat down and gone, damn it, like, this ambulance match makes total sense. I mean, it wasn't that long ago where we saw Roman Reigns inside an ambulance and Braun Strowman was tipping the damn thing over on WWE Raw. And yet, here we are in an ambulance match, and these guys are not only tearing each other apart, but it makes sense. The whole coming back to life thing for Braun worked. It's almost like they did a double turn for both guys, and in the process, I think WWE inadvertently has created two mega stars in Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. So, anyways, back to my whole point here. I start rambling, and we're getting long-winded on this, but the segment that was in the ring, and Roman Reigns looking at Kurt Angle saying, "Look, Kurt, you had a Braun problem that you didn't know how to deal with. I took care of the problem." And Brock Lesnar over there, he's just never around to do it. Man, I jumped out of my seat when Roman said that. Good God, what a great comment. I mean, and it's great that WWE and Brock Lesnar in particular are allowing this to happen. I mean, they know what we've disliked. They know we've taken shots at Brock Lesnar, so why not embrace it? Embrace what we're saying and use it against Brock Lesnar when you're cutting promos. It works. It's great television, and it was good. And then Samoa Joe coming out just is the icing on the cake. Samoa Joe has now cemented himself again as another big name in the company. Samoa Joe, if you're a longtime wrestling fan and followed the indie promotions, you knew that name. You knew what he was about. You knew he was a total badass. But now he comes to WWE and, again, has to prove himself. He has to show why it is he is that badass everybody knew he was. And he has a bigger audience to prove it to. And he has done that in strides. And when he came out with this one, and he at one point looked at Brock Lesnar and said, "You look at me when I'm speaking to you, son." My God, it just proved how much of a badass Samoa Joe can be, and it was remarkable. I was excited. So moving on from there, what else happened on Raw that was exciting? Oh yes, I think Raw got a little bit obsolete at one point. Yes, the Hardy Boys coming out and once again teasing the Broken Hardys gimmick coming to WWE. And the burning question is, will it happen? Where is everything standing? Because there is still claims that Jeff Jarrett is saying that Impact Wrestling still owns the rights to it. Yet, if you follow anybody online, such as Reby Hardy, Matt Hardy, you start to believe some sort of deal must have been struck or something was agreed upon, because that's what they're claiming on their side of things. And on top of that, Matt, if you watch him online, has really, really, really been putting himself forth. Like, he's reforming back into the broken Matt Hardy character as well. So it's interesting to have a look at. It could just be another tease and nothing might come of it anytime soon, but it would be really cool if they did it. I mean, the best part about it is that they tease it. You know, they're not just jumping in and saying, "There it is. It's right in your face," kind of thing. They've got to ease it in so that, you know, the amounts of the audience that have not watched Impact Wrestling or are unaware of what was going on with the Broken Hardys when they were over there, you know, they don't understand the characters, so they would need to get adjusted to it. So this is an adjustment period. This is a great thing. Putting them into a rivalry with the Revival might, in fact, be the best way to bring it about if that's the plans. So, then next we got Kurt Angle's continued thing. It looks like next week he is going to reveal everything about these text messages that him and Corey Graves have been receiving. Sounds like there's a lot of rumors going around about a secret love affair with somebody. Who could it be? They might have a illegitimate child together. There's a lot of really bad thoughts going on around online that, you know, one of his illegitimate children could be somebody that's currently on the roster, which doesn't really make a lot of sense in a way. Especially considering time frames and stuff like that. So who knows? We'll see where it goes. I hope that they don't blow this because it's been interesting, it's been intriguing, but we don't need something come out that's going to damage everything. So, oh yes, also going to note Bray Wyatt, 2 wins. 2 wins in a row for Bray Wyatt. My God, wow. You know, what world did I wake up in and where Bray Wyatt now is on a winning streak, I guess, so to speak. Beating Seth Rollins 2 nights in a row back to back like that. So, very incredible, interesting stuff there as well, too. So, yes, moving on from there, what else do we have to talk about? If we were to talk about SmackDown, we'd pretty much have nothing to talk about because, you know, again, I didn't dislike SmackDown, but I did not love it at the same time, folks. It's starting to become a little bit redundant, you know, like book 5 women in a match, book 5 women in a match every damn week. It's like we need more story-driven angles for these women. I'm glad to see that the women of SmackDown are getting opportunity and being used every single week, but I think you're weakening the interest in it when you're giving us the same kind of nonsense every single week. Let's see a feud breakout from all of this. Let's see what happens when, you know, Charlotte's involved in a feud with Natty Neidhart or something along those lines. You know, like, let's get a little bit more dynamics to these women, especially seeing as like this has been the same thing that's been going on since the Superstar shakeup on there. Yeah, so what else going on over there? Yeah, AJ's the new U.S. champion. That was probably one of the more notable things in him doing the idea of the U.S. title open challenge again, like John Cena had done. Definitely one of the more interesting parts about SmackDown Live this week. Wasn't a lot to note in terms of like matches, other than the main event where it was Rusev and Rusev and Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles and John Cena was about the only real memorable match type thing. Everything else was just really short, put together matches that have no drive to them and stuff like that. So, yeah, 2 weeks away from Battleground, SmackDown, I think you need to up your game a little bit going into your own pay-per-view if you want to gain our interest. Because I just don't think that the interest is as much there as it was going into Great Balls of Fire. So unfortunately, I think this might be the time that Raw outdoes SmackDown in the pay-per-view category. But we'll see. You know, I'm sure a lot of you are going to argue with me about that. A lot of people just really hell-bent on believing that SmackDown is the superior show every single week. I have not felt that way. I felt that way when they initially did the brand split. I think SmackDown was owning it week after week after week, with very seldom times that Raw was sneaking in a better show. But now, you know, we look at the landscape of it, and ever since this Superstar shake-up, I feel very strongly about the fact that Raw has been consistently better. I feel like they almost took the writers from SmackDown and gave them a Superstar shakeup and put them over on Raw because the storylines have been more consistent. There's been more intrigue. There's been more reason to watch because they leave you with cliffhangers. They leave you with something to talk about. SmackDown has not really been doing a whole lot of that mystery and intrigue. The reason that we watch weekly television shows, like I'm sure a lot of you out there, probably excited this Sunday for Game of Thrones. A lot of people are very invested in shows like The Walking Dead, Orange is the New Black, things like that, where you're getting a continued storyline, but there's always something new. There's something that happens, and you're like, oh shit, I gotta see the next episode. Oh, I gotta watch the next one, see what happens. I gotta watch the next one, see what happens. And that is exactly what WWE needs more of. The reason we watched so much during the Attitude Era was exactly for that reason, is because something major would happen and you're like, oh man, what's going to happen next week? Oh, there's always that mystery and intrigue, that reason to drive us back to the product. There has been more of that in WWE recently, which is good to see. I mean, again, I know that they're in a process of rebuilding stars, re-getting the company to where they want it to be. It'll come, folks. It's just a matter of time. And they've got the quality of talent there. All they need to do is put the pieces of the puzzle together, and finally we are going to get the WWE we've been longing for quite some time. If you're one of these internet smarks that's going to go on and believe that, oh, this bad booking, oh, cancel the network, oh, I don't watch it anymore, piss off then. We don't need you. We don't need you hurting the company by going out and bad mouthing it. If you want to watch indie federations or New Japan or Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground, anything else that's out there, you know what? Go ahead and do it. I'm all for it. That's the nice beauty of wrestling, is that you have options. If you don't want to watch WWE, that's up to you. I myself have been a long time WWE fan. I started watching wrestling in the 1980s. I was born in 1983, so yes, I am 34 years young, old, whatever the hell you want to call it. So yes, I started watching in the late 1980s. I believe that that's when I discovered Hulk Hogan, and as a kid, that was the cool thing, right? Hulk Hogan. And then, you start to get used to other characters. Oh my God, Macho Man Randy Savage and Andre the Giant, Ultimate Warrior, and then as it progressed, I was a kid. So of course, you're immediately drawn to the babyface characters. That's what you're supposed to do. So, boo, bad guys, yay, good guys. And, it didn't take me long before I came along and started realizing I like heel characters. I really do like heel characters. So, and then I started to, enjoy watching the bad guys a little bit. And then, I remember when Razor Ramon came out, and Razor Ramon coming out and doing the whole, time to, hold on, let me get this phrase correctly. Hold on, it's, screw it. You know what, guys? I can't even think this morning. I'm so goddamn tired. But anyway, you were rooting for the bad guy. That's what Razor Ramon's whole thing was. It's time to cheer for the bad guy. So yes, he came out and that's what he was. He was a heel character, but the idea was he was supposed to be a charismatic heel character, the kind that you damn well might want to cheer for, and I enjoyed that. So I became a bit of a smark in the sense that I liked watching the bad guys a lot of the time. Not to say I didn't like the baby faces still. I just got to the point where I liked watching good wrestling. I liked watching good characters. And that's what I grew up on. One of my favorites growing up, my favorite of all time in terms of in-ring, Bret the Hitman Hart. He's definitely somebody that I grew up watching, that I absolutely loved watching every single match he put on. The matches he put on were a clinic in pro wrestling. So I always really enjoyed watching him. But, I got to say that his feud with Bob Backlund back in the 1990s was one of my favorite feuds that I ever saw, and it made me really appreciate Bob Backlund. I really liked that whole goofy, dressed up older man that's borderline psychotic. And it was interesting, it was unique. I mean, they sold the hell out of it. Bret made that look perfect. When he'd get popped into a chicken wing by Bob Backlund, he made Bob Backlund look solid. Backlund made Hitman look solid. It was one of my favorite feuds as a kid, and one that I feel is very underrated underrated, very underestimated. So if any of you out there have not ever experienced the whole storyline and feud of Bret Hart versus Bob Backlund from back in the 1990s, I'm going to make that my recommendation for this weekend, for you to go out and find any of the matches, any of the angles, or anything that was pulled off during that time, and check it out. Go see for yourself, and maybe you won't appreciate it as much as me. I really enjoyed it. I have gone back and watched it before, a couple times before. So yes, something I definitely enjoy, and credit to both performers at that time for what they did. So now, just thinking forward to other things from this week. NXT, I'm not sure if anyone tuned in, but big news there. Bobby Fish making his NXT debut, and crazily enough, against Aleister Black, in what was a very good, solid match. Very good way to open NXT on Wednesday night. Bobby Fish looking every bit the part, really taking it to Aleister Black. Probably one of the toughest matches that we've seen Aleister Black have to compete in this far into his run with NXT. But he still comes out victorious, looking strong as hell. Aleister Black, a very unique, interesting character that I see being, if it done right, is going to be a very great great addition to the WWE roster. He's got a lot of mystery about him, a lot of that dark intrigue that's kind of like, we don't know a lot, but we want to tune in because something draws us to that mystery about Aleister Black. Then there was a match for qualifying for the Mae Young tournament on there, and I'm going to do my best not to screw up this one, but yes, I can't remember the name of the woman who had won this particular match, and I apologize to her. That is nothing against her or anything like that. The only problem is I didn't write down the name, and I didn't bother to go look it up because I am kind of doing this on a whim. But the other one that was in the match, I believe, went under the name that night of Jayme Jameson, I believe was the in-ring name. Now, I only say that I'm not too sure on that name because I know who this is. So I'm just going to give a big shout out right now to Jayme Jameson. So yes, Jayme Jameson, who recently was at a show here in Saskatoon, where I am from. She was competed on a show here for High Impact Wrestling in Saskatoon. So yes, Jayme Jameson, I actually got to witness at a live event not that long ago. She was wonderful, great in-ring worker. Had decided to do the show kind of at the last minute. They were looking for a fill-in, and she hopped on a plane, came on out to Saskatoon of all places, and performed to the crowd there and did a fantastic job. So needless to say, the only reason I maybe didn't pay attention to the other competitor as much, even though she was the one who won the match, was because I was stunned to see somebody that I'd just seen, less than a month before that, competing in a ring at a local show here. So yes, so definitely a shout out to Jayme Jameson. So that's if you want to find her online, folks, head on over to Twitter. It's at Jayme. That's Jayme Jameson, Jameson. So go and check out Jayme Jameson. Wonderful person, wonderful in-ring worker. Definitely you'll find her to be quite unique and interesting. Shame that she won't be going further in the tournament itself, but at the same time, credit to her for getting in the door there and getting an opportunity. So yes, fantastic work. So big shout out to Jayme Jameson. Hope you have a great weekend as well too. Hope to see you at a show sometime again soon. So the main event from NXT tag team title match, we saw Heavy Machinery against the AOP. It was okay, very big guys, but it was basically big guys hitting into big guys kind of thing. There wasn't anything too exciting about it, nothing crazy to note, so to speak. So it was a big boy match, and that's what we got. AOP coming out victorious. At the moment, I can't see them having anyone that can take them out. I mean, Heavy Machinery, sure, they're big dudes and stuff. I just don't see Heavy Machinery as tag champs. Not yet, anyway. Give them time. They're still really extremely new. So, what else we got in the world of WWE news this week? I guess not anything too wild. Other than let me say this one: Lio Rush, welcome to the WWE. I guess Lio Rush signing an NXT contract just recently, so I'm not sure if there's going to be a name change before his debut. If you've not known anything about Lio Rush, go check him out. Lio Rush has made great strides in a short period of time. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lio Rush's original professional match, like his first professional match, was only about 18 months ago, folks. So that's like a year and a half ago that this guy went out and made his first professional match, and he's already getting a contract with the WWE. So Lio Rush, great job. Good on you. Can't wait to see you in an NXT ring. You're going to be fantastic. So all the credit to Lio Rush. Looking forward to seeing him in that ring. So from there, big news. Dixie Carter made an appearance on the WWE Network. If you haven't seen it, go check out WWE 24, Kurt Angle from the other night. And yes, Dixie Carter not only on there, but WWE acknowledging TNA Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, whatever you want to call them, acknowledging their existence. Because it didn't say that she was just an associate or worked with them or anything like that. It showed the headline from the paper of when Kurt signed for TNA Wrestling, and then put her down as Dixie Carter, former president of Impact Wrestling. So very surprising to see that. Many people speculating that maybe she will come into play with the whole Kurt Angle storyline that's going on right now. Whether or not that's true, we'll just wait and see. It would be pretty crazy, but never say never. I bet most people never thought that Eric Bischoff would debut on WWE television, so there's always that to go by as well too. So on from there, I don't think much more to note, folks. I think it was a pretty soft week in terms of news, especially compared to what it was like last week. Anyway, we had a hell of a lot more going on last week than this week. But yes, that's the way this wrestling week has gone. So I just wanted to get on the mic and ramble a little bit for all those who care to listen, and hopefully more will start tuning in sometime soon. With that being said, it'd be absolutely wonderful if you are taking the time to listen to this podcast. Please hit subscribe down on the YouTube link, and if you're listening on Twitter, please definitely follow me on Twitter. Retweet this out to as many people as you can. Any bit you can do helps out. I just want to get my voice out there, heard by others and stuff like that, folks. I don't do this for any sort of monetary value or anything like that. That is not my goal or intentions here, and if it was, I'd be doing a pretty poor job of it with only about 10 people listening to this thing right now. So everything you could do to help would be fantastic. Please retweet me out, follow me on Twitter, and definitely as well give me a subscribe over on YouTube. It'd be wonderful the more we start to do. If my name starts to get out there and we start to get a little bit bigger, folks, then maybe I can get some special guests on the show. Maybe eventually we'll get some giveaways that we can do as well too. So the more you help out, the more I will be able to give back. Again, the more I get noticed, the more things I'll have to be able to work with, and the more I'll be able to give back to you, the WWE fans, the wrestling fans, everybody across the world. And I know who doesn't like potential of giveaways and stuff like that. Who doesn't want to be one of the ones to say, hey, I was one of the first 100 people to subscribe to Rob's Rockin' Wrestling, especially if, who knows, maybe I'll have 50 listeners by the end of the year and you can say you were one of the first 10. So get on there, subscribe to my channel, retweet me out, follow me, start using the hashtag TheRealBobbyMunson, and have yourself a great weekend. Top Guy out.